Ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, let's talk a little bit about how I'm using the dating apps in 2025 to meet some beautiful women. Talk about how I met this lovely lady here, Nisha, this beautiful 23-year-old girl that I've been seeing for the last, I think, 3 months at this point, and what I like to do on the apps. I think the first thing I'll talk about is that I, these days in 2025, have better luck on Hinge than on Tinder. Used to be the complete opposite. I found there were many, many, many more people on Tinder, and at least in my city, there are more girls on Tinder. But Hinge just seemed to be, in this day and age, at least for me, the more serious app. I think on Tinder, if I match with like 10 girls, only really one of them will reply to me. The rest will kind of just maybe send one message and not much more than that. But on Hinge, I don't know, something like 80% of the girls will actually bother to reply. They'll reply to my first couple of messages, and I just get way more numbers based on those matches. So I like Hinge. I use Tinder as well, but I like Hinge the best. And this is my current Hinge profile. So you can pause the video if you want to have a little look. I obviously have a profile that is very, 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 very centered around BDSM. It's pretty obvious that I'm looking for something sexual. It's pretty obvious that I'm looking for something BDSM oriented. And I even have that in my profile. If you have a look on the right, I have my 3 prompts listed. The first one is encouragement for girls to say hey and reach out first, and I'll take care of the rest. The second one is about me enjoying honesty, communication, loving life, adding to each other's lives, and people add to my life, I add to theirs. And then the third one is obviously talking about BDSM and kink, and that I'm a very patient teacher. I'm also very open and honest about the fact that I date multiple people at a time. I have that written down there in the bottom right-hand corner where I'm looking for non-monogamy, and honesty and being upfront is very key to me. I mention a bit of spirituality in this profile as well, and I have a video in there of me playing the handpan, my little hippie instrument. And my Tinder profile is basically exactly the same as this. I have a couple extra pictures on Tinder because Tinder lets you put up to 9 pictures. Hinge is only 6. But yeah, the Tinder is basically exactly the same. In terms of what I message, I say, hey, I love your energy and you're very attractive too. I'm Andy. I'm looking for something very specific on here. Girls always say, what are you looking for? Or tell me more, or what are you after? And I say, do you have experience with BDSM? Or is it something that you would like to explore? And then they tell me if they're interested. They tell me if they're not. I chat, a little bit, tell them about some of my hobbies and ask about their hobbies, what they like to do for fun outside of the bedroom. They tell me their hobbies, I tell them mine. And then I just grab a number for a coffee or for a drink. Basically say, what's your phone number? I'll send you some BDSM examples from photo shoots I've done. And then we go from there. And then when I get their phone number, like I said, I just send them a bunch of pictures, which I'm obviously not going to show them on the screen. I guess I can show you guys and girls some of the non-nude ones that I send, but I send a bunch of nude ones as well. And I obviously have permission from the women involved. But yeah, I like to send a couple of the BDSM example photos that I do. And then I invite the woman to send me some photos of herself, some nude photos if she would like to. If she doesn't want to, that's fine. And then from there, we just talk a little bit about BDSM. I organize a day for us to meet and grab a coffee or a drink. We meet up and we talk about BDSM and kink. And then I ask if they'd like to come back to my place and we go from there. So yeah, nothing crazy, nothing fancy. Me just being honest and saying, this is what I'm looking for. Do you want the same thing? In terms of what I actually do on Hinge, I send a bunch of messages. So every single girl that I swipe on, I don't just click the like button. I click like, and if you're paying for Hinge Premium or Hinge Plus, I think it's called, or Hinge X or whatever it's called, the top tier one, you can send a message with every single girl that you click like on. And every single girl that I click like on, this here on the screen is the first message that I'm sending along with that like. I'm, like I said, just saying, hey, I love your energy. You're very attractive too. I'm Andy. I'm looking for something very specific. So I do that with literally every single girl that I like. I mass send a bunch of messages. I don't really bother using a boost on Hinge, but you can yourself if you want to. Now, on Tinder, I use boosts. I will sometimes just use a normal boost or I will use a super boost, usually on a Friday or a Saturday night, sometimes on a Sunday morning or during the daytime Sunday. I send a bunch of super likes on Tinder, and I also use the first impressions feature, which is where you can send a message. I pay for a bunch of extra ones of those. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I just find if I use a super like or if I send a first impressions message on Tinder, that just gets me like way more matches. But really the basics here are just have some decent pictures and improve your pictures over time. Send a whole bunch of messages to girls. Some of them are going to match with you, some of them are not. A lot of your matches will never reply to you, especially on Tinder. That's completely normal. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. That's just kind of what the dating app is like in 2025. Most of your matches won't really end up meeting you. That's fine. All of this is just playing the numbers game and screening. And that's all I do. I'm just mentioning what I'm looking for and finding the people that want the same thing as me. Obviously, what I'm doing is very niche, literally looking for BDSM and kink. And these days, I'm also screening for girls who are happy to play with some of the girls that I'm playing with. So I'm also screening for bisexuality. And as soon as I get their phone number, I'm saying, hey, here are some of the other women that I'm playing with. Here are some of their pictures. Is that something that you're interested in? And I'm screening for those women. You don't have to do any of that. You do not have to do BDSM. I find for me personally, I mean, obviously that's the shit that I'm into, but I find if I'm into BDSM and I express that to other people, I don't know, it just feels easier to have sex with people if I'm like, here's the sexual shit that I want to do. And they're like, cool, I'm only going to match with you if I'm also looking for something sexual. And along with that, I'm also looking for something ongoing. I like relationships as much as the next guy, but I make it very obvious that I'm looking for something sexual and BDSM right off the bat. Final thing I'll say here in this video is if the dating apps are not giving you the results that you want, the very first thing that I would say is take better pictures. I have tons of videos on this channel, tons of articles on my website over on killyourinnerloser.com on how to take better pictures, how to improve your profile and all of that. But even if after all of that, the dating apps are not giving you the results that you want, go the fuck outside. I'm looking out my window right now. Go the fuck out there and walk up to women and say hello to them. You know, you're allowed to talk to girls outside. You don't have to only rely on the apps. I recommend you do a bit of both. Use the apps and go outside and talk to women. There are so many women outside that are waiting for you to walk up to them and say hello and hit on them and have a beautiful experience there. I have a video that I've done talking about my experiences recently with starting to go outside and talk to women. And I've been dating a girl now for about 2 months that I literally outside my window on my street. I hit on her on my fucking street. We've been dating for 2 months right now. It's been absolutely amazing. There's a video talking about that. So there are plenty of women outside if the dating apps are frustrating. But I promise you, if you guys are just upfront and honest and you do some of the stuff that I talk about here and in other videos, you can get plenty of matches yourself. All right, guys, go out there, have a beautiful time, crush those goals, have a ton of fun doing it. If you want my help with any of this, coaching, links in the description down below. Have a good one. If you've been wanting an amazing, awesome, elite sex life, tons of threesomes, plenty of wild adventures and great memories with awesome people, we would love to help you get there. Here's just a little bit of what our coaching clients have achieved in their time in the program. Renee had a threesome in just his second week of coaching, had a woman write him a love letter, and he went on to have sex with 12 women in just 12 weeks of coaching. Corky had his first threesome, slept with 7 amazing women, and made a ton of awesome memories with them. George and Power both had sex with 10 women each in their 12 weeks, had a bunch of wild adventures along the way. Join me and join them by clicking the coaching link in the description below.